The rich have a different mindset. The rich invest their profits, and then once those produce income, then they spend off of that income. Where the middle class or the poor do is they work and either they don't have the profits, or even if they have the profits, they use that and they spend and live off of that. The money is a tool, and it's also a barometer of how we are growing or not growing with our characters. Money should really be growing money and growing wealth should be a barometer of how you grow yourself.
Hey Brett, man, what's up?
Quinn, I'm doing great. How you doing, sir?
I'm thankful to have you on, thankful to have a conversation with you. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Well, tell my audience a little bit about yourself, just to begin.
Yeah. So I grew up in real estate in California, helping my parents build, and manage properties. And then I went to college and studied in business and Bible and theology, and had a chance to then go and practice multifamily brokerage at a company called Marcus and Millichap, and basically learned how to buy and sell multifamily properties. And then the market crashed in 2008, and we found ourselves struggling with properties that were overpurchased and overpaid for. And so we quickly learned about something that gives freedom and flexibility for exit planning. And so we jumped on it, and it's kind of changed our focus 100% to exit planning for businesses, Bitcoin, real estate, and deferring tax and building wealth in a way that helps to multiply freedom and impact. So I'm the CEO and founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions. We build capital gains tax exit plans. Married, have children. I live in Florida now, and that's a little bit about myself.
Great to hear, man. All right, so what inspired Capital Gains Tax Solutions? What inspired that business or that end of your business?
Yeah, it really comes down to a story between a gentleman named Steve, and Steve was married, 2 kids, and it was in Sacramento, and it was 2007, and he had a chance to exit at a high price, but he hesitated it because he was faced with massive capital gains tax. And fast forward, instead of making that us having a solution to provide for him besides the 1031 exchange, he decided, we walked out of that meeting not having a solution for him, right? And so he went on to hold the property and then lose all the property, go bankrupt, lose his home he was living in, got divorced from his wife, not as much time with the kids, all that kind of thing. It was just kind of a disaster. And so looking back, we said, there's got to be a better way to exit without having feeling trapped by capital gains tax. And so this is when I learned from a CPA and a tax attorney how to build capital gains tax exit plans, how to defer capital gains tax without using a 1031 exchange. And it's using the U.S. tax code in a way that really solves what people are looking for. And they want freedom, flexibility with their capital, diversification, liquidity, and the ability to do deals and invest into properties and real estate or businesses at their own timing. And so that's really what inspired it. It's Steve's story. And I couldn't help but think about my story growing up. My parents were divorced at a young age, and we had all this real estate, a lot of wealth, but they lived, separate houses. And so I didn't get to spend much time with my dad, right? That I would like to, my brother and I too. And so Steve had 2 sons, and that was kind of happening. And so all that kind of converged and connected. And so that's the big purpose, is to try to help families keep the stewardship of capital and wealth in a way that keeps families together.
Interesting, very interesting. So you mentioned a 1031. This is a Caribbean-based podcast, but we know that we have a lot of viewers in the diaspora. So just tell me a little bit what that is exactly.
Yeah, so a 1031 exchange is a way to defer capital gains tax on the sale of investment real estate. So let's say you bought a property for $1 million and then you're selling it for $10 million. And that would be subject to about 37% tax on the $9 million gain if you lived in California, as an example, right?
Got you.
And so a 1031 exchange allows you to sell that same property for $10 million and move it into another like-kind investment real estate property to be able to defer that tax, so you don't have to pay it right away. You get to kick the can down and then do $20 million deal and then do a $40 million deal and just keep kind of rolling what you would have paid in tax to buy the next property and earn more and more interest. And so they do work. We like 1031s when the marketplace has good properties to buy, but when the marketplace has low inventory, very low cap rates, which means higher prices, and then you have interest rates that are higher than cap rates, it creates a window of negative arbitrage, which can put people in compromised positions. So that's basically the 1031 exchange. But we've used those and they have their place.
Got you. Interesting. So then I know that you speak a lot about stewardship, right? Stewardship with purpose in terms of wealth. How can you speak to my audience about doing that in smaller markets, like a smaller Caribbean market or a market like this, smaller markets in general? How do you have that level of stewardship with your wealth?
Well, I think stewardship, the way that we define it, is that everything that we've been given is a gift from God, and it's given to us for an opportunity for a short period of time on this side of earth to multiply, make an impact, bless others, bless our families. So it doesn't really matter the size of it, right? Whether it's 1 talent, 2 talents, 5 talents. Really, the responsibility of stewardship in a big market, small market, is to say, hey, what has God given me, right? And how can I honor Him with that? How can I bless my family and my community with that? And whether that be the business, whether that be money, whether that be the real estate, whether that be the community, all of these things, the relationships you have, the entrepreneur spirit you have. So stewardship is more than just financial wealth. It's relational, it's cultural, it's community, but it's the unique gifts that you have to be able to support and bless. So God working through you with those blessings, that's stewardship. And so it starts with the mindset that we own everything that we have is really God's, and we are here as like ambassadors to be able to bless with these gifts folks in our community and our families.
That's very interesting. So I see that there's a integration with your faith and also the practical side of it as well.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. I like that. All right. So let's move on to a segment of this podcast that I like to call the quick hitters. Right. So I will really delve into some rapid fire questions that will give me some quick tips about certain aspects of real estate, and then we'll continue the interview. Is that cool with you?
That's great.
Great. So give me one underrated strategy for building generational wealth.
Yeah. So within real estate, I think the number one way that it can be, you can really build wealth in real estate, or one of the top ways, is to find something, a property that's in a great location or a really good location that might be older and needs some work, meaning it needs new flooring, it needs new paint, it needs new landscaping. There's something where you can physically create value, right? New windows, add a washer dryer, like do something where you can enhance the physical house, apartment, condo, whatever it is, and what's already a good or a great location. Like that's the standard value add strategy. So you buy it, you increase the value through these improvements, and then you can either rent it out and create cash flow for yourself. You could sell it for a profit, and then take that and roll it into the next opportunity. And so some people call this the method the BRRRR method. You buy, you rent, you renovate.
Yeah.
Those are the main things. And then you can hold it, right? And then just do more and more and more of those. Refinance, right? To get the cash out to go buy more. And so that's a great strategy. The other one that I would say that's been overlooked, I think, and is more popular these days is lending, right? Because lending, with interest rates being a little bit higher, if you can lend to others that are doing this, you can get double-digit cash-on-cash returns, right? And perhaps you're not doing the work yourself, but you're finding good deals and good people to who are doing the work, who have a good track record, and you're lending them the money, and then you get paid from that, and that can get you some good cash flow. So those I would say are two, but I think that before you go to all of those things, I would say the big thing to focus on is what's your truly passive income number.
Okay.
Is it 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 per month? Like, what is that number? Like, what's that number that if you had every month coming in that's truly passive? I mean, you're not trading in your time, your energy, your stress for it. It's just showing up every single month. What would that mean for you and your family? Right? What would that mean for your community? How much more could you give back to the community? Right? Where you're not trading your time for all of these dollars, that the investments are made and the money is flowing in, truly passive. And so we believe that truly passive income is to your freedom and impact, as compounding interest is to your money. Okay. And understanding that it's the big domino, that if I can knock that over, a lot of the other financial things either take care of themselves or become irrelevant. And so how do you do that? Well, you look for good investments that can pay, don't take up your time, that could pay passive monthly or quarterly or yearly income. And you get enough of those that it replaces your lifestyle and your living expenses, your needs. And it's kind of like you hear the Dave Ramsey debt snowball.
Yeah.
Well, after you pay off your debt, you're looking at an income snowball to replace to basically buy back your time or invest back your time, right? Dan Martin wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time, for how to scale your business through hiring and strategic processes. This is like invest to win your time back. And so it's a different mindset. It's a different level after you've established your budget, after you've established, paying off your general debt, right? And then you're looking for ways to get truly passive income. So that's what I would say for anyone who's listening. How do you get all that? Well, I think you start a business, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you start a business. That's the best way to build, lots of income right away. And then you take the profits, and the rich have a different mindset. The rich invest their profits, and then once those produce income, then they spend off of that income. Where the middle class or the poor do is they work and either they don't have the profits, or even if they have the profits, they use that and they spend and live off of that.
Right.
So it's like, how do you keep your expenses low? How do you live, but how do you increase your income? But then how do you invest and delay gratification for the things that you want? Because those investments are going to pay for that, right? The things that you're not trading your time for. So it's different stages and different mindsets to get to that point. It's not easy. At one point I had no money, ran out of money, had to borrow $5,000 from my dad, moving my brother to a small condo, was married, baby on the way, had to get two side hustles versus my Marcus and Millichap brokerage career job. And it was the bottom of the market, 2008 to 2011. It was just really brutal. It takes a lot of grit, a lot of perseverance, a lot of blessings from God to fight out of the financial struggles that we could all have at one point in our lives. But that's what I would say. These are some of the things that you need to implement.
For sure. And I like that insight. That's really in-depth insight. It was a quick hitter question, but you really went deep into it. And I allowed you to cook, man. I allowed you to go forward, and it was really good. I understand that, it's about, I really like that you spoke about the reinvesting of the profits. And that's something that, like you said, poor people, or people with a poor mindset, I should say, really don't do. Like you said, we tend to, I say we because sometimes I even do that as well. We tend to, once the money comes in, we start spending what comes in instead of reinvesting it and then waiting for, delayed gratification. But what you said really stood out to me, and I believe it will stand out to my listeners as well.
Good. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So let's move on. You've worked on over 500, the figure I'm seeing is over $500 million in commercial real estate deals. What advice would you give to investors looking to sell a property in the United States and reinvest that money back home? So let's say a Caribbean person living in the diaspora, living in the United States, but wants to reinvest that money back let's say in the Caribbean, if they live in the Caribbean? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I think it's just really important to establish the family mission, vision, values. Like what is it that you're trying to accomplish? A lot of us want to go tactical and straight to returns, or that all stuff is important, and you want to look at diversification, liquidity, all of those things, but really backing up a step and saying, what and how are we going to accomplish the mission, vision, values for our family? And how does the wealth and investing fit into this, rather than the other way around, where the focus is so much on the financial returns, right? So much on did I make the right stock or crypto or Bitcoin investment or real estate, or, all of those things. And you're like, wait, but you're missing how does it fit into the overall legacy of your family? So I think that's the first step. You want to make sure that you're understanding and you have that clearly laid out. Then the next step would be, who can I learn from, or who can I partner with to add value and invest in a way where I can pass on a legacy of entrepreneurial or real estate or whatever business acumen to my children or my friends. So knowing that every time you invest, it's an opportunity to invest in your education, to further your mind and your skill set and your understanding of money and capital and tax and cash flow and debt flow and returns and all of those things. So that is one of the greatest gifts, is the education and the process of it, the growth. Money should really be growing money and growing wealth should be a barometer of how you grow yourself. Mm-hmm. So not for what I can get, but for what I can become. Right. So I think Jim Rohn said it well. The major value in life is, becoming a millionaire is not for the $1 million or what you can get. The major value in life for becoming a millionaire is who you become, because who you become is always more valuable than what you get, because what you get is temporary, but who you become is eternal. And so this mindset of, we are here for a brief time on this side of earth, and then we are somewhere else, and hopefully for everyone who believes the gospel and believes in Jesus Christ, they're in heaven, right? Believes and trusts in Jesus for their salvation, right? And so everything is eternal. It's not temporary. It's not just this earth. And so money is a big piece of what's talked about in the Bible. It's what's talked about quite a bit in the Bible. In fact, it's a big thing that we can either trust in money or live for money, or live for the peace and the security that we think money will bring to us, or we can trust in God, right? And it battles all the time. So money is a tool, and it's also a barometer of how we are growing or not growing with our character. So that's what I would say. You got to really look at this beyond the temporary. You got to look at it as eternal.
Beautiful. It's literally the long-term approach to investing in yourself for now and for the hereafter, right? For eternity, literally.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. I had not thought about it that way, but yeah, you really shed light on that in that regard. So then like I said, this is a podcast based for Caribbean people, Caribbean business people, also Caribbean investors. Somebody's looking at your educational platform, because you do have an educational platform on YouTube. I've seen some of your videos, some really interesting stuff on there. How can individuals from the Caribbean take that information and tap into this knowledge to serve their local clients better?
Yeah, I mean, subscribe to our YouTube channels. We have two main ones. We have the Build It to Billions podcast and YouTube channel, and then we have the Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel. We also have a third one called Expert CRE Secrets, Commercial Real Estate Secrets. Quick little secret there. It's the same guest, and then we kind of repackage the shows. And so really subscribe to one. I think Build It to Billions is our newest one. So, but we have a lot of content on Capital Gains Tax Solutions. So I think it's one thing to listen and watch and subscribe. It's another thing to implement, hire coaches, right? Get mentors, getting groups that are, people that are doing what you want to do, so content is good to have some inspiration and some initial motivation and some vision, but you've got to take action, right?
Right.
It's what action is what creates the transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's really major areas in your life: your faith, your family, your fitness, your finances, your friends, the fun that you have, personal development, leadership. These are really key core things to your life, but having accountability, having coaches, being in places where people are helping you to grow and focus on the eternal is really the foundation for building wealth. But definitely use these as resources and find us on there, subscribe, share them. But really, anything you're listening to or looking at, take action, write down your goals, review your goals, and set quarterly goals to achieve these things. That's the biggest thing that I would leave with everybody.
Beautiful. I like that a lot. Now we do live in a digital world, a world that is ever changing, a world that's always evolving, particularly with artificial intelligence. Do you see AI impacting your industry at all?
Yeah, I think it's impacting the whole world. And for automations of a lot of things in this world, and especially underwriting, especially due diligence overviews, especially with marketing and even sales. Like it's creating a very efficient hyper industrial revolution here. We're in like the fourth industrial revolution. It's really AI. So it's changing the world rapidly, and our world's going to look very different in 1, 3, and 5 years with what we have, with how fast AI is accelerating. So yes, the answer is yes. I do see it changing our industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you rightfully said, it's changing every industry, and literally pays. Literally, it's going to pay if to learn AI and to learn, how to utilize it. Yes, it comes with challenges and challenges that we have to tackle, but it's going to change the world. It is changing the world currently. So it's best to learn about it. And that's pretty interesting insight. All right. So, looking ahead for capital gains tax solutions, what do you see next for yourself? But also, how do you believe that you can expand to target other demographics, maybe outside of the US, or just different demographics as well?
Yeah. So I think Bitcoin's really going to surge here for us. I think people are exiting crypto or Bitcoin. It creates opportunity to diversify and to get into real estate. That's been taking a lower valuation in the last 12, 24 months.
Okay.
So I think that's a big piece of this. I also think that the baby boomers, they're getting older every day.
Yes.
They all are. But there's, about 100 trillion that's going to transfer in the next 5 to 15 years. And the baby boomers represent 80 million in the U.S. alone, and about 10,000 are turning 65 every single day in the U.S. alone. And so it's a lot of wealth in the U.S. that's going to transfer, and it's going to be subject to tax, or it could be deferred using our strategy. And so that's really our main focus, is to help families steward the capital, defer the tax, build wealth, and make an impact, right? And so I would just say more awareness is what's going to change. People want more flexibility with strategies like what we provide, and they want teams more than just the strategy. It's the team to execute it, and it's the stewardship of the team and the responsibility of helping families make an impact with the money. That's the bigger piece. It's not just the tactical, it's the who that's going to make the big difference.
Got you. So it's who you work with and who you connect with that will really transform.
Yep.
I understand that a lot, and I appreciate it as well. All right. So, whatever advice we coming quickly to an end here. Whatever advice to somebody who wants to get into investing, wants to get into real estate. You have given a lot of advice already, but just additional advice to somebody who is new to real estate and wants to get into it as a source of income. what would you say to that person?
Just get started, like if you don't take any action, like nothing's ever going to happen. So, getting started can be as simple as finding a local real estate, agent or developer and starting to learn from them. It could be, if you've done one deal, doing your second deal. It could be, being a passive investor to start and then learning from those who are doing it. It could be getting a job inside of the industry as a real estate professional or a construction worker or someone in plumbing. So you got to just take action towards that next step in your educational process, which doesn't mean traditional education. It means hands-on in the working education, right? People who are doing what you're doing on a daily basis and have done it for 10,000 hours. Those are the people that you want as mentors and coaches.
Nice. So you want to be in the proximity of individuals who can get you where you eventually want to be.
Yeah. Proximity is really good, and working for them, working with them, those are all really good things. Yeah.
Beautiful. Brett, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for having this conversation with me. I am very interested in following your content further. I look forward to continue staying connected with you. And I thank you for what you've done for my audience. I think they're really impacted, even if our time together is short. But we like to do as much as possible in a little bit of time. So thank you so much, Brett. And I look forward to even bigger things in the future.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless everybody.
Beautiful. All right, guys. So this has been another episode of the Game Changers podcast. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming and listening. Subscribe to the Game Changers Hub so that you can get your content. We are on all audio streaming platforms. We are also on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe and like and share this content with individuals who want to learn about wealth creation and entrepreneurship. This is really a edutainment platform. So it's education and entertainment as well, so that you can learn things and also grow and develop. Remember to like and subscribe. We also have Game Changers merch available, and you should be able to get access to that if you contact us via our Instagram or Facebook pages. Anyhow, this has been yet another episode, and to thank you for coming on. And as always, stay hungry, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.